Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with a huge layout share for Freeze Friday. And I'm doing it on Monday because I did a CyberCrop over the weekend and I wanted to include those. I'm going to start with, I'm trying to go a little faster than I usually do, but you know me. Especially if I haven't done a video on the layout, I like to kind of do some explaining. This was the first one I did since my last video, and it's off the board with pineapple papers day 6. So this was done on the 6th of July. I was influenced by, and did not do a direct lift of, this beautiful, it's a Christmas layout using what's basically a travel collection by Paige Evans. This was done by Kelly Day, Petals Day, you may know her, out on Facebook. And I pulled from my Paige Evans stash from my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit for July. I tried some mixed media back here. Didn't necessarily go over well. There's a video on this one in my Off the Board with Pineapple Papers playlist, OTB WPP playlist. So I'll put that one aside. This one is another one that was done for Off the Board using this, that was a cut file and this was done by Giselle Omer for Bramble Fox design team. And I kind of did my own version by die cutting some white frames. So that's not a cut file, as you can see. There's also a video on this one in that same Off the Board playlist. This is another one that is off the board, and what I used from Pinterest here was this mood board and this color palette, and I used this sketch from Mercy Tiara Inspiration, it's Summer 2020 Inspiration, and this is what I came up with. And I used a Paige Evans collection. Most of this comes from Take Me Away. These hearts, of course, come from Bloom Street. Okay, let me put that aside. This one was for Christina Day, and it also it was also for Off the Board. I was lifting this beautiful layout, which I intend to do more true to her, and I used my true size scraps. I didn't cut them down. I wanted to put stickers on them, and I left them this wide and thought it wouldn't make any difference, and it kind of put the whole thing off scale. I love it, and I don't mind having a chaotic page that doesn't make much sense when I'm doing a page about the dog, because that's her. She's chaotic and she doesn't make much sense. Okay, this one is probably one of my favorite layouts ever. I did a lot of, I took a Vicky Bouton pre-made mixed media background, did a bunch of stamping, added some sequins and some splatters. When I did the video, I didn't outline this stenciling that I had done, but I thought when I looked at it, as I was putting it in my finished stack, I thought I'd like to bring out the fact that those feathers were there. What I was copying, this was done for Mixed Media Frenzy, and the pin that we were lifting was this one that had lots of feathers, and so I kind of wanted feathers there along with my tropical leaves. So I'm really happy with them. There's, again, a video on that one. And then this is the latest one I did. I did this one very early this morning, I think 1 o'clock, that for Off the Board, and it's using this pen that just has little squares and rectangles of scraps and some stars and splatters and a camera. And I kind of went overboard. I really liked these big splatters with the little tails, and I kind of knew how to make those tails. So I instead of doing one splatter and create the tails and working one at a time, I did several splatters and then I went around blowing them, and sometimes when I blew them, they weren't. In any case, it came out messy and grungy and a little like graffiti, which is appropriate for this tunnel that the girls are in when their dad took the picture. And someone has a very nice friend of mine on Facebook has said that it looks teenagerish, and so there we have it. That's my excuse. So I love it. The more I look at it, the more I love it. I kind of wish if I were to do anything over again, I'd leave this white. I would kind of eliminate that. But anyway, so that finishes the stack of non-CyberCrop layouts. So I'm going to go through the CyberCrop layouts and give you a little clue as to what I was working towards when I did the layout, without giving away the clues, because the clues are kind of the prompts and challenges are kind of key to the charm, let's say, and the fun of doing a Mind the Scrap CyberCrop. And we really encourage you to try one out. It's open to everyone, and it's just a great group of ladies that participate, and so much inspiration in the albums when you see how people interpret the challenges. So, having said all of that, I'll go through. I think there are 20 layouts here. There were 19 challenges, and I stuffed up the rules on one of the challenges, so I redid it to do it. That's absolutely not necessary. You're free to do whatever you want in there. But and I'm happy I did the layout that wasn't according to the prompt, but you'll see in a minute. Okay, this is the first one I did, and this one was done for several different challenges. I was going by this Pinterest pin, this sketch from the Summer Mercy Tiara Inspiration Hop, and this recipe from Spoonful of Scraps, as well as the Mind the Scrap challenge, which had to do with bags. And I had just actually put Ava's birthday gifts, which came in like a month late, or 3 weeks late. Well, a month late from when I ordered them. I put them in this bag that is one of my favorites that we brought back from Australia, and it's Aboriginal art. And this is a photo of the contents. There's a Harry Styles t-shirt in there, and a cool beanie for her to wear over her newly emerging hair until she's comfortable with it. One of the requirements in one of the challenges I did required hidden journaling, so I cut a piece of ephemera in half and held it together with washi tape and put it in here. I added this to kind of lift it up with, because I can grab hold of that. So anyway, I love this one. I absolutely do. So let me put that down. This one had something to do with mud. And so I found these 4 photos. I think I've scrapped this one and this one before, but I haven't ever put all 4 of these together. And when I look at these, I remember how long and luxurious and gorgeous her hair was, and always has been. And she's I see what she misses about that kind of hair, but we still try to tell her that her little pixie hair growing back from after chemo is cute as can be, but she still prefers to cover it up with a beanie. So I used a layout that was done by Rebecca Birch that I saw in, I guess I saw it on Instagram. So it's not a Pinterest pin. It may be on Pinterest, but I knew I had some of the polka dot paper, although not all those colors. And I thought layers and layers, and I used photographs instead of the kind of the color-coded ephemera that she uses there. I just love this page, and I love it because of the white space down there, so I left black space. All of these that are, let's see, there's no video for this one. There is a video for this one because it was done for off the board, I think. Yeah. Okay, so no video for this one. This one is for the CyberCrop, but it's also for Spoonful, and it's for Scrap Squad Sunday, and that's the lift. This is the original right here, and I did this with this photo of the kids at a teepee in the nature center that's just down the road from us, less than a mile away. One of the requirements was to use purple. So again, there's a video for this one, and it'll be in the also the well, it'll be in several playlists, but it will be in the off the board playlist on my channel. This one, I think there is no video. It's just for the CyberCrop. And to be honest, I think that this one had a an aspect of it to kind of have your photos and embellishments all in an island and leaving the rest open. So I thought the sky here just kind of reminded me of this pre-made mixed media background by Vicki Boutin, and I stamped some leaves and flowers and then used it with a clear sticker that I mounted on white cardstock. So that's how I did that. Very, very simple. And here's one that at the time that I did the video, I'd actually lost this bumblebee, chipboard bumblebee, but so I fussy cut another one, and then I just put this bumblebee right on top of the one that I had put on there in the video. I'm doing here a lift of this. This is a sketch for a card design, a card front. And it has balloons and obviously asking for a happy birthday type sentiment. This is in the Mercy Tiara Inspiration sketch challenge. So I did this. I used this background from a Mind the Scrap kit. In fact, everything here is from current or previous Mind the Scrap kits. And I just tied these icons from the chipboard page to look like it's tied balloons. And this one was all about Barrett's messy beach hair, but also about his Rolling Stones t-shirt and his little woven bracelets that I think his sisters had made. And I love the Cocoa Vanilla star pattern. I also like the reverse of that, which I use on another layout that's coming up. And I just kind of had these from something. I had this circle and this perfect little beach hair ephemera. I love this page because I absolutely adore that photo of Barrett, and I wasn't aware that I even had it. Okay, here's a more current photo of Barrett. This is the one where I stuffed up the rules. It was something that this would have been appropriate, but I was supposed to be using a photo of me. And so I picked out these geometric patterns with the blue highlighted because of the boys' blue shirts. And then I found other papers that contrasted with that were anything but blue, and then added a few other things. I really like this. These were the guys in Barrett's Football University 7-on-7 tournament that was in Orlando, Florida. We kept expecting the tournament to be canceled as the COVID cases rose in Florida, but the organization decided to hold it. And this is where lots of college coaches come out to watch the kids, and Barrett is one of those players that college coaches have their eyes on. So this is him right here in the sunglasses, looking just uber cool, and with his short jersey. And I thought, high fives, guys out on the field, high fives in paradise. And we were in Orlando. We weren't allowed, spectators were not allowed at the games. So his dad brought him there, and I watched from the car or from the stands, socially distanced and wearing a mask. And the boys were all checked, their temperatures were checked, and they were checked for runny noses and other symptoms. So, hopefully it wasn't a bad idea to do that, especially in light of the cases that are out there now. But we did it. We can't undo it. And I wanted to scrap about it. So this was one about doing something that you were maybe a little uncomfortable doing. And I don't think I'd scrapped this story before, but I call it rock chic because when we walked into Madison Square Garden for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 25th anniversary concerts, there were 2 days of concerts, and we drove to New York from Georgia to attend the concerts. Bought tickets online, weren't sure we were going to actually get the tickets. We were meeting people at a mall in New Jersey, Paramus, New Jersey, to get one set of tickets, and others we were waiting to come in until the very last day in the mail at home before we had to leave. So it was an exciting trip, and the seats were absolutely amazing. But as we walked in, there was one of those booths that they have that T-Mobile was there, of course, trying to, sell their phones. And what they did was they had a set of props, and they kind of set you up, and they could even make old ladies like me look like rock chicks. So they gave me this leather bicycle jacket and this huge set of headphones and these lime green shades, and gave me a bright orange microphone, and I went nuts. And I really got into character there. So it's one of my favorite pictures ever, and so I thought it was kind of cool. And these embellishments and papers from the July Mind the Scrap kit just were perfect to document that. No video on that one. Another one that has no video is this one. This was kind of about devices and screen time and so forth. And I call this one Guilty because John and I are guilty of us beginning the kids' obsession with devices. Christmas of 2010, in 2010 was when the iPads came out. And we went on a Thanksgiving trip to Margaritaville in Pensacola. And while there, I logged in to get a limited number of iPads on sale, and I ordered 3 and had them engraved for Katie, Barrett, and Allie, who were our 8 at the time, I think. Katie and Allie were 8 and Barrett was 6. And we debated back and forth whether it was appropriate to give a 6-year-old an expensive machine like that, but we did it anyway. And of course, they indoctrinated Ava, and none of the 4 has looked up since that day. But they sure loved it. And I thought this was a great photo of the Katie and Ava, I think they're watching a YouTube video when they had kind of discovered that. I expected them to play educational games, and we had them preloaded with that, but I don't think that ever happened. This is the redo of that one that was about wearing something, and it was in this case I'm wearing a hat, my happy retirement hat that they put on my head as soon as I walked into my retirement dinner, and they made me wear it the whole night. So I call it Sweet Hat. It was a very simple page to put together. This was an actual scrap of that cardstock, an actual scrap of that pattern paper, and an actual scrap of that pattern paper. I didn't cut anything. I've had this butterfly lying around forever. I drew some, for some reason, drew some black lines around the butterfly. So because I had done that, I drew black lines around all of the pieces of paper and around this heart. And with the black title here, I thought that was perfect. So anyway, I love this page. I love the simplicity of it. Again, no video. No video for this one either. This one uses a lot of Pink Fresh stuff and stamps from the current Mind the Scrap kit. Love this stamp. It's meant for as a rectangular frame, but I put this little square photo here. And this had to do with songs, and I put Wasting Away in Margaritaville Cottages, which is where we stayed when we went to Orlando. And it was a private cottage. We were the only people in it, and we were able to socially distance. I think there was nobody in our next door cottages. There was another family a couple doors down, and we waved at each other out in the parking lots and saw each other, but walked when we went out for walks with our masks on. Everyone was wearing masks. For this photo, no one was wearing masks. Ava's maternal grandfather and his wife came by to visit us because they live in Orlando, and we were safe and felt comfortable with them. And this was a very brief moment when that photo was taken, but you know, you in light of what's happening in Florida, you just kind of cringe when you see, even for this moment, people not wearing masks. So I apologize for that, but I have to document it, you know. I stamped these leaves on pattern papers that I used here, and then, you know, put them on there. And I kind of like that technique. Both of these are Vicky Boutin papers, and I'm not sure who made this paper, but the colors just went perfectly with everything else. That dark green goes with the dark green leaves here. This is a piece of ephemera that's been lying around for forever, and so again, no video. This one was for a prompt about love, and I used lots of hearts. And this is the story that I always reflect on when we celebrate the anniversary of John's proposal. He called up James. James was staying with his dad, and he called up James and said, "I asked your mom to marry me. I just now asked your mom to marry me." And James says, "So what did you do when she said no?" He was 6 at the time. So that was July 10th, 1981. So big hearts, little hearts, couple of little overlapping hearts, and some black and white to set off all this riot of color. Love that page. This is a story I have never documented, and the prompt had to do with cues or lines, and I thought of many lines, and I had some cute pictures of Ava fidgeting in lines at Disney World and things like that. But what really came to mind was the very longest cue I was ever in was for the King Tut exhibit. in January of 1976 in New Orleans. Now, I know New Orleans is in the South and it's warm most of the time, but it was really cold that day. I remember the jeans I was wearing, can't so much remember the shirt, but I had bell-bottom jeans and I was so proud of those things. And I'm sure there are a few bell-bottoms in this crowd. These photos all came from the internet because we weren't allowed cameras that day, so I have no photos commemorating the event. I took this one because it was, I chose this one because it shows the line coming in and it shows the guy selling these Cokes were $15 and the chips were $10. And that's all that was available in the way of food. For 12 hours, we stood in this line, and you could buy $15 Cokes and $12 chips. So I called a friend of mine in New Orleans, and he actually came down and brought us an ice chest full of drinks and some food. So we were lucky, but it was so cold, and that we set fires in mesh trash cans and warmed our hands that way, kind of stood around the trash cans. It was strange. And I honestly can't tell you how we made it that long without going to the bathroom, because we had no access to restrooms. They hadn't put any porta potties around. They hadn't thought it through, let me put it that way. I chose this photo because it shows the front of the museum. The New Orleans Museum of Art is absolutely beautiful and has a round, kind of a circular drive, approaching it with a big, beautiful fountain. And it kind of showed some of the clothes then, in the day. So does this one. This guy has bell bottoms and this, t-shirt and the hairstyles. It was just kind of cute. And this was the poster for the exhibit. So it is definitely I think, something remarkable that I'm not sure what that's doing there, scrap. I killed a sticker sheet from Cocoa Vanilla and some clouds I had fussy cut from Head in the Clouds by Chamel. So the embellishments make no sense other than the two cameras, I guess, but it allowed me to use stash, and they're not inappropriate, and I put the title kind of right in the middle. Not a beautifully designed page, but my backing on the photos there kind of matches the colors I used elsewhere. So, I love the page because I've never told the story before, and it's finally out there. So, no video. This one has no video either. This one was, what I'm documenting here is my journaling is on the back here. I said, we all hope it was worth the risk to travel to Florida and a COVID-19 surge there. It was wonderful, but time will tell. And at the moment, John and I are in quarantine. We had some symptoms last a week after returning from here, and we're waiting our results. Today is the earliest day that the results could be back. Used Vicky Booten supplies from the 6x8 pad that was in the Mind the Scrap kit. Fussy cut some flowers from there, and I already had printed this photo in this filter, which is from Prisma, and I think it's called Paper Flowers or, excuse me, something like that. It's not a COVID cough, I'm sure. And if it is, you guys can't catch it. So I loved how all the colors kind of went with the filter I used for the photo. And this was, the no passport required is a Jimmy Buffett term from one of his songs, and it's what they say about Margaritaville. You can travel to the tropics or around the world to whatever beach you want to imagine you're in, and there's no passport required. Okay, so here's one that's kind of minimalist for me. The prompt here was about over the top. people over the top, and certainly James and Reese are over the top most of the time, but every once in a while, so sometimes they sleep. And here, this is the quietest that the house ever gets, is when big guy and little girl are sound asleep. And I love the photo. I actually ran it through a different filter in the Prisma app, and this coverlet, which is a kind of a different color in person, maybe more red or hot pink, came out a really nice peachy color. So I had this peachy color background there, and this kind of peachy colored paper flower, and there's a peachy colored butterfly there, and a gray to go with this, and this aqua that goes with nothing. And I had this, and my journaling is in that on the back of the card there. And I just love this page. That's probably one of my favorite pages. Oh, then here's another one. This one is about food. So James took this picture. He handled back when we had been tested before, or when I had been tested before, we were waiting for our results and they were late. And so Father's Day came. It came time for this. We had ordered this big feast from our favorite restaurant, Papacitos. It's lobster and steak and chicken fajitas and brochette shrimp and all the trimmings for that. Just food too delicious to explain. So we ordered it, and instead of us going to pick it up, James picked it up, and he handled it and put it out on the table. We sat at one end of the deck, and he and the rest of the family sat at another end. Everybody was wearing masks, and we served the food, kind of took a couple photos, and then they went to their part of the house via an outdoor stairway, and we went in. This is our back deck, just right outside my craft room. Actually, my craft room's kind of over here, which says open. So I wanted to document this. The title of it is In My Own Backyard, and I used stickers from a summer collection. I think it's Summer Market by Cartabella, and I just love it. This is a Vicky Boutin. It's the only thing that's not from Summer Market, I think. But anyway, I love the festiveness of the page, and it kind of goes with the floral tablecloth that I had put over. This is a deck box that holds all of our chair cushions. So, no video on that one. This one probably took me 10 minutes to put together. The requirement here, one of the requirements, or one of the options for requirements, was to have 4 photos that were less than 3 by 3. So I used this background that had all the pre-made circles on it, and I printed 4 edits or 4 filters of the same photo of Ava entering a culvert cave. I was standing at the other end of the culvert when I took this photo, and because there's a circle surrounding her, I cut the circle, and each circle I cut has her oriented a little bit differently, so they don't look like exactly the same photo. Never mind that the filters are so very different. So I got I wanted to do some splotches, and kind of taking a cue from the gold stars here. I wish I could find it, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, here it is. It is an Art C glitter marker in gold, and this is kind of what it looks like. And I went around the edges of all of these circles with it, and then I squeezed some through the brush to make these big splotches, and then I actually went around some of Vicki Boutin's circles just to give a touch of glittery shine to them. I have mostly used this on cards because, to be honest, I'm not sure if it's, and I'm having trouble getting it to snap closed. I'm not sure if it's acid free, so, and I use this create your own path as to have a straight line thing in there, and the ooh, I'm gonna go there. And after I photographed it for the album, the gallery for the CyberCrop, I added this title because it was coming loose from the sticker sheet, and I thought it was appropriate because remembering Ava being this tiny is just amazing when you look at the grown-up, mature, strong little girl, or, you know, bigger girl. She's still a girl. She's only 12, guys. So this one was for a prompt about getting lost. And this is another story I'd never scrapped before. This is a picture of James at the age he was when he got lost in this airport. This photo came from the internet, and then I ran it through a filter to get those bright colors, and used this bright colored alpha. I wanted to document the story. It was very important to do that. Once I printed this photo and then overlaid this one, I couldn't figure out where to put the journaling. I didn't want to put it here, so I stuck it up here, and I had to add the heart to kind of balance it. I had this airplane kind of clip from Vicki Boutin, and so I added this flower and this butterfly with a map on it, and it all kind of ended up with a pyramid look, kind of going down to here. And I'm not unhappy with that. I used this bright pink cardstock to kind of pick up on the bright pinks in the filtered photo there. But it just kind of talks about, I took him with me on a business trip. We did lots of fun things, including going to Disney, but when we were flying home, I let go of his hand just for a second. He was not quite 5, so he was 4 3/4. And I let go of his hand for a second to put the luggage up on the scale, and he just disappeared. And I frantically ran through the airport yelling, and there's a bathroom sign right here, and I'm assuming, you know, the check-in was maybe here, the bathroom was that close, and I ran all the way down there and came all the way back, and then I saw the bathroom sign and I just ran in. It was a men's room. When I ran into the men's room, he's standing there, you know, happy as can be, peeing with the door open, with the stall door open. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen him. And I mean, I was frantically yelling his name. So anyway, it was a scary time, and I'm happy to have documented it. Although I have to tell you that my heart skipped a beat when I was just thinking about the story. So no video on that one. This was another one that was, it turned out better than I'd thought it might, but this paper was actually, this is the right way up, and there was another ring of the rainbow, and there was some actual, I don't know, a sentiment typed kind of across it as part of the pattern on the paper. So I cut that off. I fussy cut along this line right here, and I found a piece of paper that was the same color as the strip that went through, and I put it on like this and just did a panel across here where the embellishments kind of hide where the paper joins, and it wasn't too attractive where it joined. I filtered this to have pinks in there, and this was about my coming home from the last semester. It was the last Christmas I was home. It was between semesters, the first and second semester of my senior year in college. And my mom had picked me up. My dad was standing with the camera, I think it was a Polaroid, taking a photo as I walked in with my box of stuff from my dorm room. And things were getting ready to change. I had just turned 21, and I'd finished exams, and I was thrilled with results. I had checked exam scores, and just, it was like I said, I just like 4 or 5 months later, I accepted a job in another state, moved there, couldn't come back for Christmas that first year. I think they came up to visit me the second year. So it was the last homecoming for a while. And I used lots of embellishments from the current July Mind the Scrap kit there. In fact, I think everything there is from that kit. And my dog kind of looked like that. She was a Cocker Spaniel and Pekingese mix. And so I don't like using pet embellishments if I never had or don't have a pet that looked like that. But this one I used because I did. This one was the last challenge posted. It was a blind challenge where we just took some instructions and followed them. I didn't have the right size photo, and maybe the photo should have been black and white, but it was one of the photos that we took. It says, "If we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane," which is a line from Changes in Latitude, Changes in Attitude, a Jimmy Buffett song. And this photo was taken as we were getting ready to leave and go home after checking out of Margaritaville cottages. And at the resort, let me put some glue on here. I'm tired of this moving. So I haven't yet seen the layout that Emma created for this challenge. Okay, I think this had actually moved when I took the photo, and it really looks crooked in the photo. But the colors there worked perfectly with some Vicky Bouton papers that I fussy cut those flowers, and the flowers kind of go along with all the tropical leaves. In fact, can you tell that I love that stamp set that came in the recent kit? And these giant hearts are just to die for, and these little paper flowers. I think I used my last 2 paper flowers today on this layout. This one was the scrap-along that was 5 o'clock in the morning yesterday, my time. And I had every intention of getting up to do this, and I just overslept. And so I really thought I'd be up. I set a 3 o'clock alarm because I expected to get up at 3 and do the challenges that had come out at 1 and at 3. And then I'd be ready for the 5 o'clock scrap-along. I love the scrap-alongs, but what I did was I didn't look at the gallery. I didn't look at anything anybody posted until this morning after I watched the video. So I watched the replay of the video, and I did this as if I were scrapping along for the first time. So, and these are photos I took of last night's meal. I made a low country boil, which is kind of the ultimate dish here in the southeast United States. It's I'm more of a Cajun seafood cook, but this is a photo of all the seafood and the sausage and the onions and the lemons and the potatoes and corn boiling, and that's the seasoning coming up, and you can see the full black peppercorns in there. And I had no idea, the kitchen smelled wonderful, but I had no idea how the food would taste. After you take it out and drain it, this was the pot of food that I sent upstairs for the family. And James tells me this morning that Ava ate nearly all the crabs, 3 of the corn cobs, lots of potatoes, and tons of shrimp. So, and sausage. And he has asked for me to make this again. This was my very first Low Country boil, and it's one of those things that you don't. It's kind of like gumbo in Louisiana. If you don't do it well, you need to move. And so, I'm really happy with how it turned out. We loved it. I kept a little bit out for John and me, and we ate it last night about an hour after they had eaten theirs, and they were telling me how wonderful it was. So this fit for today's load prompt, which was to scrap about something you're passionate about and to use the color red. So I had 2 red paper flowers. I fussy cut this red rose, and I also used this peachy one. I'd used this kind of dark teal background, used teal. It's the Pink Fresh liquid watercolors for the mixed media. And there, I found this teal heart on a Vicky Bouton sticker sheet. This "You are amazing," meaning not me, but this food was amazing. And I put this sticker that said "Food, Friends, and Laughter." I think Emma used circles. I used these frames that came in the current kit. And I gutted the paper back there. And there's no video for this one, but I kind of wish there was, because I love it, and it went together very quickly. I was able to do it, and I finished at the same time she did, so I was happy with that. I did the journaling around the outside, even did the corner cuts on the edge. I don't have the original. I will be putting the original and the one that Emma did on the back here to kind of strengthen it. You can see how the watercolors soak through the paper. So this is my last layout that I've done for the weekend. I did this one very early this morning, and just because I wanted to get it out there in time. So this is 20 layouts done for 19 challenges, and I love them all. Some of them are not great design-wise, but they tell stories that I'm happy to have finally told. And I'm thrilled with the dent I have made in my Mind the Scrap kits. I had 2 IKEA boxes loaded up, one with all the pieces left from previous kits, and another loaded up with my July kit, which had just arrived a few days before I started. And I've really made a dent. I've kind of used a lot of this chipboard sheet and kind of done this. I can't wait to use this little hanging swing. I love hanging swings. And I've got a great hanging swing photo to go with that. And the color of the house is that same aqua color there. That's just great. So, and I have a photo of the flower market in Amsterdam that I'm going to use this sticker for. And I have some pickup truck photos. Some of these photos I'm going to have to scan, and I have just had the most devastating thing happen ever in the history of things. Not really, but I have a scanner that's about, 14 years old, and I use it to scan my old hard copy photos, and I use it all the time for that, and many other things. And I've just upgraded to a new operating system on my Mac, and I needed to do that to get some changes in the Photos program to make it compatible with my printer. And I've been waiting 5 years for that to happen. And finally, because it's been out of sync and I've been having to print using my word processing program, and it's a long story, and I spent many hours on the phone with the Apple support people as well as the Epson support people. So I got that fixed, but now Epson has left this scanner behind. They're not going to upgrade its software to be compatible with this new operating system on the Mac. So basically my scanner is now a paperweight. I cannot use it, and the only one I can afford is another one like it that's 8.5 by 11 letter size, and I would really rather have a large format, a 13 by 19, so I could scan 12 by 12s and wouldn't have to take all those wonky photos of my layouts. It would be so much easier since I do so many layouts. I think I've just completed, let's see, this one was layout number 324 for this year. So I'll probably finish 600 or 700 layouts for the year. It would really be nice not to have to take 6 or 7 or 8 iPhone shots to try to get something so that it's not crooked. But anyway, I don't know whether that's worth $4,000. So anyway, I'm sitting here without a scanner, and some of the photos that I need for those stickers that I showed you are required there. This is my setup. I did this thinking I would do this page at the CyberCrop, and it didn't fit any of the prompts. This is a filtered photo of my very favorite iris that we have. It has these beautiful light, pale colors in the center here, and then the darker magenta purples out on these outer petals. And I did some ink on the Heidi Swap did these on watercolor paper. They're kind of cut files or something. They're a couple. I haven't used the ones with the big sentiments. I'm probably going to use one of these as a stencil, and then the other one I'll fix up and do on a page. And in any case, some of these didn't have words on them. This one just had little dots, so you can kind of see that showing through there. So I'm gonna try to maybe do something like this. Of course, I'll cut the edge off of that so that some of the dots show green through them and some show white. Haven't quite figured that out yet, but that'll probably be the next layout I work on. And if I can find a Pinterest pin that does something like this, I'll do it. So what the inks I used for this are this Dilutions Shimmer Spray in Crushed Grape, the same Dilutions Shimmer Spray in Funky Fuchsia, and this Hot Pink Heidi Swap Color Shine. And it's just different enough from this fuchsia that it really gave it some depth. The kind of, and then I did drops while these inks were wet. I did drops of the gold color shine, and there's some white bits peeking through, which sometimes I don't like, but I do like it here. Right here, this kind of looks a little bit like a mess up, so that's probably where I'll put my photo. Maybe I'll do something like that. And then we'll see. So anyway, and I've got my lime green thread, so that'll maybe be part of that layout. So see you next week. Thank you for lasting through this very long layout share. And I will not be participating in any CyberCrops, although I will be going back and doing, I double booked myself this weekend, and I could only do one event, as it turned out. I thought I might be able to do both, but I'll be going back and doing Christina Sorge Redefined Kreative event, Stash Bash Palooza. I have kind of built a stash kit to use for the layouts, and that's it's a class where she puts together a layout and you kind of put together yours from a far different stash than she has. As you know from previous paloozas, she sends a box of ingredients out, and you use those to put the pages, and they're all divided by page. In this case, she puts the onus on us to build our own page kits and have the photographs ready. So I have the photographs ready and the kit's ready, the supplies ready, and I'm planning to do at least a couple of those layouts every day this week. So I'll have a few next week, but I hope to do the share on Friday as requested. So it's Freeze Friday on Monday this time, but we'll have Freeze Friday on Friday just coming up in a few days. So, and I'm doing load too, so there'll be quite a few. I'll try to combine some of those wherever I can. So I will see you next week. Thanks for the support. If you like it, like and share, or like and subscribe on YouTube, and I'll be forever grateful. Bye.